Should you wholesale or should you do novation? I wholesaled this house with my community member, Jerry. He got it for $182,500 and I sold it for $195,000 and we made $12,500. But what if the seller wouldn't take anything less than $200,000? I'm sure you've had this situation come up a million times where you're just so close on a deal. You're just a few $1,000s off. You're just a few percentage points off, but the seller refuses to drop the price. What do? Do you just lose the deal? No. You do a novation. This giant mansion in DeSoto, Texas, the seller said, I won't take $1 less than $400,000. If you want to offer me $399, $999, go f yourself. This deal didn't pencil for your typical wholesale deal, but it did for a novation. Running my numbers, the next door neighbor's house, which is a perfect comp to our property, sold for $500,000. And guess what? I mean, it's a nice house, but it's outdated, just like our property. Our properties are in very similar condition, and that one sold for $500,000. And the seller on our property only wanted $400,000. So we will find you a buyer who will pay you $400,000. Just give us 60 days to locate this buyer, and then an extra 30 days to close on the property, and we will deliver you your $400,000 cash. She was like,
you're gonna find me a buyer and I don't need to pay the agent commissions? I don't even need to pay the closing costs? I don't need to pay any buyer concessions?
Nope, lady. We will handle everything. We're gonna give you $400,000 net cash. Just give us a little bit of time. So what are we doing? Are we gonna give her the cash? Bro, my wallet's empty. I don't have $400,000 cash, so what are we gonna do? I think we list it for $475,000. So after expenses, that nets us $450K. Guys, we're not going to wholesale this property to an investor. An investor doesn't want to buy this big mansion that's in pretty nice condition. But you know who does want to buy it? A soccer mom and her corporate sales husband who have a family. And where do these people find houses? Zillow. We're going to list this property on MLS for $475,000, and after we pay the agent fees, the closing costs, and the buyer concessions, if any, we're gonna walk away with probably $450,000 if we get a full price offer. That means the difference between $450 and what we are giving the seller, $400, that $50,000 is our assignment fee. But we're not assigning the property to anyone. We're doing a novation, which is a fancy word for saying a substitution agreement, where we're substituting the seller's $400K contract with a new buyer who's gonna be found on Zillow, MLS, who's gonna bring in an offer for $475 minus expenses. We're just gonna be substituting those two contracts and we're gonna earn the difference in between. Confusing? I'll explain in a second how it all works. But what I want you to understand and to answer the question that I posed to you in the beginning of this video was, should you wholesale or should you do novations? You should be doing both. You should start all of your offers as a cash offer, a quick 14-day close. I'll buy it as is. I can close super fast, but that service comes at a cost. I'm an investor. I need to buy properties and make a modest profit. And if there's not a room for a modest profit, then I don't want to buy your property. If the seller and you cannot make the deal work, you can't buy properties at 70, 75, maybe 80% of ARV minus repairs, don't buy it. Then you tell the seller,
hey, I'm not your buyer, but I'm an extremely well-networked investor in the area, and I know for a fact, using my tools, I can bring you a buyer who will pay closer to your price. If I can do that, this may take a couple months, but if I can do that, would you take, let's say, I don't know, 400,000? Net?
And if they say yes, you wholesale the property not to an investor, to the MLS. Does this work for only houses that are really nice? It's usually for your wholesale properties that are MLS ready, but you can do this on ugly properties too. This does work best though on properties that will pass financing that a bank would lend on. Not always, but usually. But Max, how much can I offer on a novation? I'm gonna make a full video on that, y'all, but I want you to understand one word. As is. Is that 2 words? As is. For novations, we do not base them off of after repair value. We base them off of the current value of the property, not the potential value, the current value. And if the current value on Zillow, on MLS, is about 10% above where you're getting the property, is above where you negotiated the price with the seller, you may have a good deal. But how much room should you factor in? You want to make sure that if you sold a property on MLS, you subtracted all the fees, then you'd have enough room for a healthy assignment fee, usually $20,000 plus because you're doing a lot of work. Like I said, I'll make a full video on how to run your numbers on a novation. Just let me know. If this video gets 1,000 views, I'll do that. So just let me know in the description. Just let me know in the comments down below if you want me to teach you how to comp novations. But how does this process work? You found a house. Let's just say, guys, you found a house and the seller wants $250,000. You run the numbers and you determine that the after repair value is equal to $350,000. And using the 90% rule, which I teach you how to do in the video right here, go watch it. And the property needs, let's just say, $40K of work to achieve its full potential value. And the buyer needs to make $40,000 profit for this to be a good deal. You get a maximum allowable offer. This is the maximum amount that you can pay for your cash wholesale deal. Doing this math in my head because I'm super smart and I can do this math in my head. I get a maximum allowable offer, guys, of $235,000. And honestly, that's closer to where I want to dispo this deal. I should probably be getting this property around $230,000 for it to make sense. Now I'd probably make $5,000, $10,000. So let's just say maybe we make $10,000. We can sell it a little bit at a premium. The issue is that the seller says, I will not take anything less than $250,000. But seller, I will close on your property in 14 days. Make it 10 days. I've closed on properties in 5 days. You're tax delinquent. You're in pre-foreclosure. You have to take this offer. Then they may say, oh, you know what? You're right. I'll do $230,000. I wanted $250,000, but I'll do $230,000. Thank you, Max. You get the property under contract. This is your contract at $230,000. And then you assign the contract. You're assigning the rights in the contract to an investor, guys. And this investor, he's going to pay you $240,000 and you are going to walk away with a $10K assignment fee. And you will make this money in about 14-ish days. Sometimes it takes longer. Not bad for 2 weeks. But what if the seller says, hey, I will not go under $250,000 and needing money now? Guess what? I don't care. I don't need the money right now. I want money, but I don't need it tomorrow. I don't need it in 14 days. I can take it in a couple months. Then you're going to look at the as is value. And if you think this is a good novation deal, then you will get the property under contract for $250,000. You will put the property on MLS, and then you're going to find a buyer who writes you a purchase and sale contract for, let's say, $300,000, but you are not going to assign this contract. You are not assigning the contract. What's happening here, guys, is that when you lock up a novation deal, this contract was actually 3 contracts. It was a purchase and sale agreement, but it was also a power of attorney that gave you the legal right to list the property on MLS, and it was a novation agreement. So you got the property under contract, you listed it on MLS, and then once you found the buyer, this novation contract kicks in and says, hey seller, you are automatically going to accept this offer, and this one is going to disappear. So now the new offer on your house is $300,000. But seller, you are not getting that $300,000. You are getting your $250,000, and the difference, the $50,000, that's going to this handsome guy named Max, who you should absolutely subscribe to. But what if, guys, this guy and this chick try to go around you? Well, that's when you have your 4th contract. This can be different types of contracts, but usually I see something like a memo. Please speak with your attorneys, guys, before you do this. This is not legal advice. Do not try this without speaking to your attorney, and I am not advising that you do this strategy without speaking to your attorney. Okay, thank you. Educational purposes only. This protects your right in the property. So if these two try to go around you, they cannot go around you until they pay you your $50,000. And that is how a novation works in 4 contracts. So with all that being said, guys, this is how you do a novation. And if you are a wholesaler, you should absolutely look into novations. But let's not forget, wholesaling is our business. You start your offers with wholesale. And just because you can't negotiate well, do not go to a novation. Maybe it's because you're not negotiating well. Maybe you should learn to freaking negotiate. Learn from pros like Jerry Norton and RJ Bate and Zach Ginn. Find the motivation of these people. Deliver an offer that satisfies their motivation. And then on the 10-20% of times where the numbers just don't pencil, look at doing a novation, because you can turn a dead deal that was going to make you no money into a $50K fee. If you appreciate this video, guys, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.